What if Earth becomes uninhabitable? Where do we go? That was the question Elon Musk posed as he stepped onto the stage at the SpaceX Starbase launch facility in Boca Chica, Texas. The crowd held its breath. The desert sun blazed down on the steel fuselage of a gleaming Starship prototype in the background, as cameras from every major media outlet zoomed in. This was not just another tech conference. This was something else. People felt it. The mood was electric, not just among the press and industry insiders, but among the millions watching the live stream from their phones, TVs, and laptops across the world. A sense of urgency filled the air. Elon took a long pause, looked out at the crowd, then into the camera. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? His voice was calm, clear, but there was something different about him this time. He wasn't just speaking to shareholders or space enthusiasts. He was speaking to humanity. Elon reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black case, opening it slowly to reveal a metallic red cube the size of a matchbox. He held it up. "This," he said, "is the reason I've been quiet these past months. It's not just about rockets or Mars anymore. It's about something we've discovered, something that changes everything we thought we knew about the red planet." The crowd erupted in questions, flashbulbs firing. But Elon raised a hand and signaled for quiet. He wasn't ready to reveal everything, at least not yet. Instead, he walked to the side of the stage and tapped a holographic display. Behind him, an image of the Martian surface appeared, but it looked different than any satellite photo ever shown. A structure, geometric, unnatural, sat half-buried beneath the red soil. The room went silent again. Elon spoke quietly. "This is not a simulation. This is real. And it was captured just weeks ago by an autonomous rover we deployed in secret." People stared in disbelief. Whispers swept through the crowd. Could it be ancient ruins? Alien technology? Or just a natural formation twisted by light and shadows? Elon didn't say. Not yet. Instead, he shifted gears. "But let's go back," he said. "Let me tell you how we got here, how this dream of Mars colonization, which many once thought was just science fiction, has now become a matter of survival." The screen behind him faded to black. Another image appeared, a cracked, arid landscape, Earth, not Mars. Droughts, wildfires, hurricanes, record heat waves. Elon's voice grew more intense. "Earth is in trouble. We know this. The data is clear. But the solution isn't to abandon Earth, it's to give humanity a backup. A plan B. A way to survive if everything else fails." The message was grim but hopeful. He showed footage of melting glaciers, then clips of children in schools learning about climate change, then the image of Starship lifting off into the sky, breaking through the clouds. "That's what this is about," he said. "Not escape, but preservation. Not fear, but hope." As he spoke, a timeline appeared showing the SpaceX roadmap, uncrewed cargo missions in 2026. First human Mars landing by 2029. Permanent settlement by 2040. Self-sustaining city by 2060. These weren't just dreams anymore, they were dates, objectives, deadlines. And the world was watching. At that moment, something shifted. Elon wasn't just the billionaire CEO anymore. He was a symbol of humanity's ambition, anxiety, and imagination. And whatever he had discovered on Mars, whatever secret he was still holding back, it had the potential to change everything. The live stream chat exploded with theories and reactions. Was it proof of life? Evidence of an ancient civilization? A mineral or substance with unimaginable power? Or maybe something even more frightening, something that could threaten us if brought back to Earth? Elon gave no answers. He simply said, "I'll share more when the time is right." Then he stepped off the stage. The internet went into meltdown. News anchors struggled to summarize what had just happened. Social media fractured into a million threads and speculations. Scientists, skeptics, dreamers, and conspiracy theorists all had their say. But no one could deny it, Elon Musk had changed the conversation. Again. Backstage, away from the cameras, he sat down with a small team of SpaceX engineers and advisors. They looked at him nervously, awaiting further instructions. Elon rubbed his temples and sighed. "We're not ready," he said. "Not yet. But we will be." One of the advisors asked him if he really planned to reveal the full truth. Elon looked up slowly. "The truth isn't something you choose," he said. "It finds you. Mars found us. Now we have to decide what to do with that." A moment of silence passed. Then he stood up and walked out into the night, the desert wind brushing against his jacket, stars beginning to emerge in the sky above Texas. Somewhere out there, 140 million miles away, was a barren, red planet with a secret. And soon, the world would know what it was. But first, they would need to understand the journey. How he got here. What drove him? What nearly broke him? And why Mars was more than a dream, it was destiny. Tomorrow, he'd begin again. He had stories to tell. Truths to unveil. But for now, as the rocket towered behind him under floodlights, Elon Musk disappeared into the shadows, carrying with him a mystery, a memory, and the weight of the future. He wasn't born a billionaire. He wasn't born a genius. He was born in Pretoria, South Africa, on a cool June day in 1971, to a dietitian mother who modeled part-time and an electromechanical engineer father with a cold, calculating way of viewing the world. Elon Reeve Musk grew up with dreams too big for the classrooms that tried to contain them. He wasn't popular. He wasn't strong. He wasn't understood. The other kids saw him as strange, too quiet, too intense, too lost in books about rocket propulsion and quantum mechanics, too obsessed with The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Asimov's Foundation series. He was the kid who carried programming manuals instead of soccer balls, who spent weekends writing code on a Commodore VIC-20 instead of going to birthday parties, who preferred the company of circuitry and science to the chaos of teenage social life. And he suffered for it. He was beaten, mocked, left alone. One day, at school, a group of boys shoved him down a flight of stairs and kicked him until his face was swollen beyond recognition. He missed a week of school. His father barely said a word. His mother, May, wiped the blood from his nose and told him to be tougher. That toughness became armor, and that armor became fuel. He started to believe that the only way to protect himself was to build something bigger than the pain. A purpose. A mission. A reason for existing that made everything else, loneliness, rejection, doubt, fade into the background. When Elon was 12, he sold his first video game. It was called Blaster, and it earned him $500. It wasn't much, but it was proof. He could build things people wanted. He could imagine what didn't exist and make it real. He could code a universe. And he never stopped. After high school, he escaped to Canada with barely a suitcase and a few contacts. He worked on farms, cleaned boilers, slept on couches. Anything to get away from his father and from the gnawing feeling that he was wasting time. He eventually made it to the University of Pennsylvania, where he studied physics and economics. But school was just a launch pad. Elon didn't want a degree. He wanted direction. He wanted to aim his mind like a rocket toward the greatest problems in the world and solve them before time ran out. That's how he ended up in Silicon Valley in the late 1990s, just before the dot-com boom. He built Zip2, an online city guide, and sold it for over $300 million. He co-founded X.com, which became PayPal, and sold that to eBay for $1.5 billion. At 31, he was rich enough to never work again. But money wasn't the mission. Money was the fuel. He started to ask a different kind of question, one that made most entrepreneurs uncomfortable: what problems actually matter? What future are we building? What happens if we don't fix energy, transportation, and space? And so came Tesla, to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy. And Solar City, to put power back in the hands of people. And Neuralink, to bridge the gap between man and machine. And OpenAI, to prevent artificial intelligence from destroying us. But it was SpaceX that became his true obsession. Because space wasn't just about exploration, it was about survival. About legacy. About giving humanity a chance if Earth failed. He poured nearly all of his PayPal fortune into the company, and nearly lost everything. There were 3 failed launches. Critics called him reckless, arrogant, delusional. One reporter told him bluntly, "You'll never make it." NASA already gave up on Mars. Elon looked him dead in the eyes and said, "That's why I have to try." It was more than ego. More than vision. It was necessity. It was fear. It was love. Elon loved humanity more than he let on. Behind the memes and the interviews, the viral tweets and sarcastic one-liners, was a man terrified of extinction. Not just of species, but of spirit. He believed we were wasting our potential. That we were sleepwalking toward disaster. That if we didn't dream bigger, much, much bigger, we would lose everything that made us human. And so he pushed. Hard. Too hard, some said. He demanded 100-hour work weeks. Slept on factory floors. Fired people on the spot. But he also inspired. He gave his employees something no startup brochure ever could, a purpose larger than profit. He told them they weren't building rockets. They were building lifeboats for civilization. His inner circle knew the stakes. Gwynne Shotwell, his COO, was one of the few who could challenge him and survive. She helped translate his chaos into strategy. His brother Kimball, forever the idealist, reminded him to stay connected to real people. And his children, now growing, curious, and a little strange like him, were the only ones who made him stop and breathe. For a moment. The love life was messy. Divorces, high-profile relationships, headlines that never stopped. But love was never the enemy. Time was. Elon often said that we only had a limited window before Earth reached a tipping point. Before climate change became irreversible. Before AI became too powerful. Before something, somewhere, broke the delicate balance we took for granted. So Mars wasn't just a destination. It was a deadline. A race against entropy. A fight against complacency. And even as his companies soared, Tesla breaking records, Starlink connecting the globe, Starship preparing to launch, he never lost sight of the bigger picture. SpaceX wasn't just a company. It was a bet on humanity. And every successful launch was a vote in favor of our survival. That was why, when Elon saw the first images from the secret Mars rover, he didn't react with triumph. He reacted with silence. Because what he saw wasn't just proof that something, or someone, had been there. It was a mirror. A reflection of what could happen if we made the same mistakes. If we reached Mars, but lost our soul along the way. He didn't tell the public right away. Not because he was afraid of panic, but because he wasn't sure how to explain it. Not yet. How do you tell the world that we might not be alone? Or worse, that we are, because someone else failed? He needed time. He needed evidence. He needed to know what this structure meant. What it warned. But he also knew he couldn't delay forever. That's why he planned the reveal. The Starbase event. The red cube. The image. A whisper of truth, enough to awaken curiosity, but not fear. Not yet. He remembered the quote he loved from Carl Sagan. The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff. We are a way for the universe to know itself. And he wondered, quietly, privately, whether the universe was trying to remind us of that, before it was too late. Because if Mars held answers, it also held questions. And Elon Musk had built his entire life on refusing to look away from either. He was the boy who got beat up for being too smart, too weird, too curious. He was the teenager who stared at the night sky and saw possibilities, not limits. He was the man who risked everything, reputation, wealth, sanity, for a future most people still couldn't imagine. He was not perfect. Not even close. But he was relentless. And if the truth about Mars was finally coming to light, it would be Elon who carried the torch. Even if it burned him in the end. The days after Elon's dramatic announcement at Starbase were filled with chaos, curiosity, and controversy. News outlets worldwide scrambled to analyze every frame of the image he had shown. The half-buried geometric structure on Mars. Theories ranged from ancient Martian civilizations to secret military bases hidden beneath layers of red dust. Yet, amid the frenzy, Elon and his team faced their own internal storm. The discovery had shifted everything. SpaceX's original mission to colonize Mars for survival now carried an ominous weight. What if the red planet held dangers unknown? What if humanity's arrival was not a fresh start, but an intrusion into a forgotten war zone? Internally, the SpaceX board was divided. Some wanted to keep pushing forward aggressively, launch the crewed missions on schedule, claim the prize of the first interplanetary city. Others argued for caution, delay, study, send more unmanned probes. The tension was palpable. Elon stood in a command center, surrounded by blinking consoles and live telemetry feeds. His mind raced, trying to balance hope and fear, science and speculation. It was the familiar crucible he'd faced before, between visionary risk and grounded reality. The autonomous rover that captured the images, named Perseverance 2 in homage to NASA's own rover, had been programmed for months to scan specific coordinates where anomalous magnetic readings were detected. What the sensors revealed was baffling: mineral compositions that didn't match any known Martian geology. Patterns that suggested artificial manipulation. Yet, when scientists back on Earth attempted to decode the data, contradictions emerged. Signals that looked like faint, repeating pulses, almost like a language, were drowned out by static. Some engineers whispered about noise from solar storms, others speculated about something buried deep beneath the surface sending signals to satellites orbiting Mars. Elon called in Dr. Maya Chen, a brilliant but skeptical astrobiologist from MIT who had initially dismissed SpaceX's ambitions as publicity stunts. She was blunt. We need to approach this scientifically, not emotionally. The risk of confirmation bias is huge. But Elon pressed. What if this is the breakthrough we've waited for? What if it changes our place in the cosmos? Maya hesitated but admitted she had never seen data like this before. The public, meanwhile, was split between excitement and fear. Social media became a battleground of opinions. Conspiracy theories bloomed like wildflowers in spring. Governments questioned SpaceX's transparency. NASA cautiously welcomed the findings but stressed the importance of international cooperation. Some world leaders even called for a UN emergency summit to discuss the implications. Back at Starbase, the pressure was crushing. Elon's closest advisors warned him, reveal too much too soon, and risk mass panic or governmental backlash. Reveal too little, and the world might turn against him. Amid the mounting stress, Elon's personal life took a hit. His relationship with Claire, a leading aerospace engineer and his partner for 2 years, grew strained. She feared the secret weighed too heavily on him, fracturing his focus and temper. One late night, she confronted him in the SpaceX cafeteria. Elon, you're shutting me out. We're supposed to be partners. If you're hiding things this big, how can I trust anything? Elon looked up, exhausted. I don't have answers yet, Claire. I'm trying to protect us, from what I don't know. She shook her head. But hiding won't protect you. Or anyone. The argument ended with silence. Elon returned to his quarters alone, the weight of isolation pressing down like gravity. Meanwhile, the rover's data revealed another disturbing clue: traces of radiation spikes inconsistent with natural cosmic events. Something had emitted a powerful burst, decades ago, perhaps centuries. Enough to alter the surface environment. Elon gathered his top scientists for an emergency briefing. The room was tense. This radiation signature could explain why previous Mars missions failed or why we've never found signs of life, said one physicist. It's possible the planet was subjected to an artificial catastrophe. The thought sent chills through the room. If Mars had been home to intelligent life, had they destroyed themselves? Were their ruins a warning? Elon's mind flashed to the red cube he'd revealed publicly. He hadn't explained it fully because he himself wasn't sure what it was: a piece of material retrieved from the rover's digging arm, sent back to Earth. Preliminary tests showed it was not natural, composed of alloys unknown on Earth, with a strange internal structure that seemed to shift under magnetic fields. Elon knew the world was not ready for this. Yet, the clock was ticking. SpaceX's next crewed mission was scheduled within 3 years. NASA and other agencies were watching, waiting. There were whispers of sabotage from rival companies and intelligence agencies concerned about a single man controlling interplanetary travel. One night, a mysterious break-in at Starbase research facility set off alarms. Nothing was stolen, but data files were accessed and deleted. Elon suspected corporate espionage. Trust was eroding. With everything unraveling, Elon retreated to his childhood home in Texas for a rare moment of reflection. He walked through dusty halls lined with old photos of a boy who once dreamed beyond his reach. Memories flooded back: the loneliness, the beatings, the relentless drive to prove himself. He realized that this journey to Mars was as much about escaping his past as saving humanity. But the past had followed him into space. The shadows were rising. The journey ahead was no longer a straight shot to the stars. It was a maze of secrets, betrayal, and impossible choices. And Elon Musk stood at the center, carrying the burden of truth, hope, and an unknown enemy waiting to reveal itself. Elon's announcement had unleashed a storm, but the real story was still buried beneath the Martian soil, waiting to be uncovered. While the world debated, Elon and his team prepared for a covert mission that would either validate their hopes or shatter their dreams forever. The next chapter of Mars exploration was not about flashy launches or public spectacles. It was about precision, secrecy, and confronting the unknown. Weeks after the Starbase event, an autonomous spacecraft named Pathfinder 2 launched quietly from Cape Canaveral under the radar of most media. Unlike previous Starship launches, this mission carried no crew, no broadcast cameras, no hype. Instead, it transported the Mars Underground Probe, an advanced robotic drill designed to penetrate deep into the mysterious structure Elon had revealed. The probe was the culmination of years of development, equipped with sensors capable of analyzing materials at the atomic level, cameras able to peer into the darkest crevices, and communication systems designed to relay data through Mars' thin atmosphere back to Earth in near real time. Elon personally oversaw the launch, pacing anxiously as the rocket disappeared into the blue. The stakes were unprecedented. This isn't just about exploration, he told his team. It's about survival. About learning what happened on Mars so we don't repeat it. As the probe touched down near the structure, engineers held their breath. Days passed with only static and partial data transmissions. Then, suddenly, the probe's sensors detected something unexpected, a faint energy signature emanating from beneath the surface. Not radioactive decay, but something more complex, almost like a heartbeat. The team on Earth exchanged stunned glances. Elon's voice cracked when he spoke to the press, "We're not just uncovering ruins. We may be waking something." The media frenzy reignited. But Elon remained focused on the data. Images from the probe revealed an intricate network of tunnels and chambers, lined with symbols that no one could decipher. The walls shimmered with a strange iridescence, almost alive under the probe's lights. Scientists speculated it could be a form of crystal or advanced bioluminescent material. Elon spent sleepless nights reviewing the footage, trying to piece together what this meant. Was it a forgotten alien city? A natural geological phenomenon? Or a monument left behind as a warning? Then the probe's instruments detected movement. Not large or threatening, but subtle vibrations beneath the soil. Something was stirring, or activating. The engineers debated shutting the probe down, fearing it might trigger something dangerous. But Elon refused. "We have to see this through," he insisted. "If there's life on Mars, or remnants of it, we owe it to humanity to understand." The tension was almost unbearable. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the political and social ramifications continued to unfold. Governments demanded transparency. International coalitions proposed joint missions. Elon faced mounting pressure to share all findings openly, but he feared revealing too much would spark fear or worse, exploitation. Trust was fragile. He confided in Maya Chen during one long video call. "If what we find is truly alive, or once was, it changes everything," he said. "We might be the second civilization in this solar system. And we don't know why the first one fell." Maya's reply was cautious. "Then we have to be careful not to become the same story." In the shadows, rival companies and foreign agencies scrambled to develop their own Mars programs, driven by a mix of fear and ambition. Elon knew the race was no longer just technological, it was existential. The probe's cameras captured a breakthrough moment when one of the tunnel chambers revealed artifacts, delicate, crafted objects resembling tools and artworks, preserved perfectly in the dry Martian environment. The shapes were unfamiliar but unmistakably artificial. This was proof of intelligence, culture, and history. Elon's mind raced through the implications. How had this civilization vanished? What lessons were encoded in their demise? Then came the unthinkable. The probe's sensors picked up a low-frequency pulse repeating every 42 minutes. It was a pattern, a signal. Not random noise. It was communication. The news stunned the world. Elon held a press conference, his voice steady but his eyes betraying the gravity of the moment. "Mars is not just a target for colonization," he said. "It is a planet with a past, and perhaps a future we must respect." The revelation sparked a wave of existential questions. Philosophers, theologians, scientists, and politicians debated humanity's place in the universe like never before. Some hailed it as the dawn of a new era of cosmic understanding. Others feared it would destabilize societies, ignite xenophobia, or worse. Elon's personal life continued to suffer under the pressure. Claire, frustrated and fearful, broke off their relationship, telling him she couldn't live in the shadow of secrets and unknowns. Elon accepted the loss with quiet resignation, burying himself deeper in work. But even in isolation, he found moments of clarity. Walking under the vast Texas sky, staring at the stars, he felt the enormity of the journey ahead. Mars was no longer a barren wasteland. It was a mirror, reflecting both hope and warning. The hidden expedition was far from over. What lay beneath the surface could rewrite history, or end it. Elon Musk was no longer just a visionary billionaire. He was a guardian of a truth humanity was only beginning to grasp. And the next steps would demand everything he had, and more. The tension had been building for months, a slow burn that stretched across continents, laboratories, and the silent void between worlds. Elon Musk sat in the dimly lit control room, surrounded by screens showing live feeds from the Mars underground probe. The faint pulses, the shimmering tunnels, the ancient artifacts, all of it pointed to something monumental. But what came next would shake him, and the world, to their core. On a cold November morning, the probe sent back an image that made Elon's breath catch, a cavern deep beneath Mars' surface, filled with what looked like frozen humanoid figures, preserved as if in time's cruel grip. The faces were peaceful, almost serene, with eyes closed as if in eternal rest. It was undeniable, this was a burial site. A graveyard of an extinct civilization. The scientific team was stunned. To confirm life once flourished on Mars was one thing. To see such intimate proof was another. The emotional weight settled like a stone in Elon's chest. He thought of the boy who dreamed alone in Pretoria, the man who had sacrificed everything for a chance at survival. What had these Martians lost? What story did their silence tell? The world held its breath as Elon prepared for the biggest press conference of his life. When the cameras turned on him, his usual bravado gave way to a rare vulnerability. Today, he began, voice steady but thick with emotion, we share with you a discovery that changes our understanding of the cosmos. Mars was once home to a civilization, a people not unlike ourselves. They lived, dreamed, and loved. And they died. Questions flooded in from every corner. Who were they? How did they perish? Could humanity be next? Elon addressed each carefully, choosing his words to balance truth and hope. We don't yet know why they disappeared. But we do know that their fate is a warning and a challenge. We have the opportunity to learn from their past to secure our future. Inside SpaceX, the revelation caused a seismic shift. Teams who once raced to build rockets now grappled with existential questions. The mission was no longer just about colonization or survival, it was about stewardship. Elon convened a global summit of scientists, ethicists, and leaders to discuss the implications. The debates were fierce. Some argued for immediate caution, even a halt to crewed missions, until humanity understood more. Others believed that colonization was necessary precisely because Earth's own future was uncertain. In the midst of the turmoil, Elon found an unexpected ally in Dr. Maya Chen. Her scientific rigor tempered his impulsiveness, while his vision inspired her to think beyond the lab. Together, they began to advocate for a new approach, one that combined exploration with respect, science with humility. But the emotional toll on Elon was immense. The burden of revealing such a profound truth weighed heavily. At night, he was haunted by dreams, visions of those frozen faces reaching out from the dust, whispers carried on Martian winds. He realized that Mars wasn't just a destination. It was a mirror reflecting humanity's greatest fears and hopes. Friends and family reached out, but Elon remained distant. The loss of Claire still stung, and the growing divide between public hero and private man widened. One evening, alone in his Texas home, Elon penned a letter, not for the public, but for himself. He wrote of fear and hope, of the loneliness that comes with carrying the future on your shoulders. He admitted his doubts, his failures, but also his unwavering belief in humanity's capacity to rise. This catharsis gave him renewed strength. At the same time, the probe continued its descent deeper into the Martian underworld. It discovered a chamber filled with inscriptions, symbols and scripts that no one on Earth could yet decipher. Linguists and cryptographers scrambled to unlock the code, hoping it would reveal the story of the Martians' rise and fall. Suddenly, the probe's instruments registered a spike in energy, an unexplained burst that temporarily knocked out communications. When signals returned, the probe had transmitted a final, chilling message. A distorted, repeating pattern resembling a warning. The scientists watched in stunned silence. Elon felt a cold dread settle in his bones. Had they awakened something dormant? The emotional climax of the mission was not just the discovery of life, but the revelation that the past carried dangers. The possibility that Mars held secrets humanity was not prepared to face. The world was forced to confront uncomfortable questions: were we truly alone? Or was this a prelude to something darker? In the midst of this uncertainty, Elon gave a powerful speech to the United Nations. Mars is a new frontier, but it is also a sacred reminder. We are not invincible. We are not the first to dream among the stars. We must proceed with courage and respect, with humility and resolve. The future of humanity depends on the lessons we choose to learn. The response was mixed. Some praised Elon as a visionary leader, others accused him of fearmongering. But one thing was clear. The story of Mars had shifted from science fiction to urgent reality. Elon's journey, from a bullied boy in South Africa to the man carrying humanity's hope, had reached a turning point. The emotional weight of truth, hope, and fear mingled in every decision he made. And as the probe prepared for its final descent into the deepest chamber, Elon knew the greatest challenges were still ahead. The truth about Mars was no longer just about exploration. It was about survival, legacy, and the fragile thread that connects all life across the universe. After the emotional whirlwind of the last revelation, a heavy silence settled over the SpaceX command center. Elon Musk sat quietly, staring at the screens that displayed the probe's live feed, streams of shadows and rock walls illuminated by robotic lights flickering deep beneath the Martian surface. The probe was preparing for its final descent into the lowest chamber of the ancient structure. This was the moment when questions might finally be answered or when the abyss might swallow all hope. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation and dread. Years of planning, countless sleepless nights, and the weight of the entire world's expectations had come to this point. Elon could almost feel the cold dust of Mars through the screen, the silence of centuries pressing down on the crew and scientists alike. As the probe moved deeper, the temperature readings dropped sharply, hinting at pockets of ice or perhaps something more mysterious. The robotic arm brushed against smooth, almost polished surfaces etched with unfamiliar glyphs that pulsed faintly with an eerie luminescence. Maya Chen was by Elon's side, her expression a mix of scientific curiosity and guarded concern. These symbols, she whispered, could be a form of communication. Maybe a message left by the civilization for whoever came after. Elon nodded. Or a warning. The probe's sensors detected traces of organic compounds, suggesting that some form of life had once thrived here. But the deeper they went, the more the data grew inconsistent. Something was interfering with the instruments, electromagnetic disturbances that didn't match any known natural source. Elon realized this wasn't just an archaeological site. It was a technological relic, a remnant of advanced machinery buried under layers of Martian soil. Then, the feed showed an unexpected sight, a chamber with what looked like a dormant machine, large and complex, its surface covered in alien script and crystalline components glowing faintly. Elon's heart pounded. This was no mere ruin. This was a relic of power, something built with a purpose that stretched beyond time. As the probe began to scan and analyze the machine, sudden tremors shook the cavern. Dust and small rocks fell, and the lights flickered. The team held their breath as the probe's cameras caught a subtle movement. The slow, deliberate unfolding of mechanical parts. The machine was awakening. Panic and excitement surged through the control room. Elon's voice cut through the tension, "Stay calm. Observe everything. This is what we came here for." For hours, the probe transmitted data showing the machine coming to life. Lights glowed brighter, panels shifted, and a low humming filled the silence of the deep Martian cavern. The machine seemed to be powering up, as if responding to the probe's presence. But to what end? Suddenly, the machine projected a holographic image, an intricate star map showing a constellation unknown to Earth's astronomers. Alongside it, symbols flashed in rhythm with the pulsing lights. Elon and Maya worked feverishly to decode the message. It appeared to be a form of invitation, coordinates to a distant star system, along with a warning, a caution against repeating the mistakes of the past. The message was clear. This civilization had once reached for the stars but had been destroyed by hubris or catastrophe. Elon felt a chill run down his spine. If the message was meant for humanity, it was both an offer and a challenge. Should they follow the map? Could they survive what had ended the Martians? As the probe continued its exploration, it uncovered a sealed chamber with a cryptic inscription, "Those who seek must sacrifice." The walls were lined with symbols of sacrifice and rebirth, hinting at a culture that understood the fragility of life and the necessity of profound change. Elon felt a deep connection with this message. His own life had been marked by sacrifice, of personal relationships, comfort, and security, in pursuit of a greater vision. Suddenly, the probe's feed went dark. Communications were lost. The control room erupted into chaos as technicians scrambled to re-establish contact. Hours passed with no response. Elon's heart sank. Had the probe been damaged or destroyed? Or was the machine's awakening more dangerous than they realized? Then, in the dead silence, the screen flickered back on. The probe's cameras showed a figure, tall, slender, and humanoid, but not quite human. Its translucent skin shimmered with iridescence, and its eyes glowed softly. It regarded the probe calmly, with an intelligence that was both alien and familiar. Elon felt a surge of awe and fear. They were not alone. The figure extended a hand, and the probe's sensors detected a wave of energy, a form of communication that bypassed words, transmitting emotions and memories. Elon and Maya watched as flashes of the Martian civilization's history played out, a vibrant society, their rise, their encounter with a cataclysm, and their final hope resting in this being, who had remained dormant to guide future explorers. The revelation shattered everything Elon thought he knew. Mars was not dead. It was waiting. Waiting for humanity to prove they were worthy, to learn from the past, and to choose a path forward. The figure spoke without words, planting a seed of hope and responsibility in Elon's mind. As the communication ended, the figure faded into the shadows, leaving the probe to return to the surface with its precious cargo of knowledge. Elon turned to Maya, eyes wide with the enormity of what they'd witnessed. "This changes everything," he said softly. "We are not just explorers. We are inheritors of a legacy." The path ahead was no longer just about rockets and technology. It was about understanding, respect, and the courage to face the unknown. Elon knew that the decisions they made next would echo through history, not just for Earth, but for the entire universe. The return of the probe from the depths of Mars unleashed a whirlwind of emotion and speculation across the globe. Elon Musk sat in a quiet corner of the SpaceX facility, processing the flood of data and images that had arrived. The figure in the cavern, the emissary of a lost civilization, had shifted the entire mission from one of exploration to one of stewardship and profound responsibility. The legacy of the Martians was now humanity's to inherit, and Elon felt the immense weight of that truth pressing on him like gravity itself. In the days that followed, international leaders convened emergency meetings, scientific panels debated the ethics of space exploration, and religious leaders grappled with the implications of not being alone in the universe. The world was at a crossroads. Elon, meanwhile, became both a beacon of hope and a target of criticism. To some, he was the visionary who had uncovered the greatest secret of all time. To others, he was a reckless pioneer who had unleashed forces beyond humanity's control. Yet through it all, Elon remained resolute. He knew that the future depended not on fear, but on courage and understanding. He gathered his closest advisors, including Dr. Maya Chen, to chart a course forward. "We cannot simply rush to colonize Mars as if it were ours to take," he insisted. "This is a living legacy. We must honor it. We must learn from it." Maya nodded. "The evidence suggests this civilization fell due to a combination of environmental collapse and internal conflict. They had technology far beyond ours, yet they couldn't save themselves. It's a cautionary tale." Together, they proposed a new mission, one that focused not on exploitation, but on preservation and study. It would be a collaborative effort involving nations across the globe, with strict ethical guidelines and a commitment to transparency. The proposal faced resistance, especially from private companies eager to stake claims on Mars. But public opinion was shifting, fueled by Elon's speeches and the undeniable evidence from the probe. People wanted to believe in a future where humanity could rise above its past mistakes. Meanwhile, Elon's personal life remained fractured. The burden of leadership and the relentless media scrutiny strained his relationships. He struggled to connect with those closest to him, haunted by the faces frozen beneath the Martian soil and the lessons they carried. One night, Maya found him alone in the observation deck, staring at the stars. "You carry this weight like it's yours alone," she said softly. Elon sighed. "Maybe it is. But I don't want to fail. Not this time." Maya reached out, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You're not alone. We all share this responsibility." Their bond deepened, forged in the crucible of discovery and shared purpose. As the new mission began to take shape, teams prepared for the next phase, sending a crewed expedition to Mars not to conquer, but to understand and protect. Training was intense, focusing on scientific research, cultural sensitivity, and crisis management. Elon personally selected the crew, emphasizing qualities beyond technical skill, empathy, resilience, and integrity. The world watched as the first humans prepared to walk the Martian surface with reverence and humility. On the eve of the launch, Elon gave a final address. "We stand at the threshold of a new chapter in human history. Mars is not just a place to settle, it is a mirror reflecting who we are and who we might become. Let us step forward with respect, courage, and hope." The launch was flawless, a testament to years of innovation and perseverance. As the rocket ascended, Elon felt a mix of pride and apprehension. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, it felt possible to face it with open eyes and a willing heart. On Mars, the crew's first steps were solemn. They planted not flags, but symbols of peace and unity. Their mission was to listen, to the land, to the echoes of the past, and to each other. Days turned into weeks as they explored the ruins, carefully documenting and preserving every artifact. They discovered messages carved into walls, stories of triumph, loss, and hope. The crew grew close, bound by their shared purpose and the enormity of their task. Back on Earth, Elon continued to lead with a mix of vision and humility. The Martian legacy had transformed him. No longer was he just a businessman or inventor, he was a guardian of humanity's future. The story of Mars had become a story of humanity itself, its fragility, its potential, and its enduring spirit. As the chapter closed on this phase of the journey, Elon knew the road ahead would be long and difficult. But he also knew that the greatest discoveries were not just about technology or distant worlds. They were about understanding what it meant to be human, and what it would take to survive among the stars. The Martian landscape stretched out in endless rust-colored plains and jagged rock formations, bathed in the cold light of a distant sun. The crew's base camp was a hive of quiet activity, scientists and engineers moving with a shared sense of purpose and caution. Each day brought new discoveries, but with them, new questions, and new shadows from a past long buried beneath the red dust. Elon watched the live feed from Earth, the images of the crew exploring the ancient ruins flickering on the screen. The inscriptions and symbols they uncovered seemed to tell a story of a civilization both advanced and fragile. One day, Dr. Maya Chen contacted Elon with urgency in her voice. "Elon, we found something you need to see." The feed shifted to a chamber deep inside a Martian cave, where the walls were covered in murals depicting scenes of daily life, families, celebrations, and rituals. But then, the tone changed. The images grew darker, depictions of conflict, destruction, and despair. Elon felt a chill. This was not just a history, it was a warning. The Martians had faced internal strife, environmental collapse, and possibly war. The more they uncovered, the more the parallels to Earth's own struggles became undeniable. Elon's mind raced. Could humanity be doomed to repeat the mistakes of a lost world? The crew's discoveries soon included relics of technology far beyond anything on Earth, devices that seemed to manipulate energy and matter in ways that defied known physics. Yet, alongside this marvel was evidence of catastrophic failure, systems broken, cities in ruin, life extinguished. As the crew delved deeper, tensions began to rise. The psychological strain of their mission, combined with the eerie reminders of the Martian civilization's downfall, weighed heavily. Some crew members questioned the wisdom of their mission, fearing they were uncovering secrets meant to remain hidden. Elon, back on Earth, faced similar doubts. The media frenzy and political pressure intensified. Critics accused him of recklessness, while supporters hailed his courage. But the burden of truth was lonely. One evening, Elon received a message from the crew that chilled him, a recording of a distress signal, faint but unmistakable, emanating from beneath the Martian surface. The signal's pattern suggested intelligence, but it was fragmented, like a cry for help lost in time. Elon convened an emergency meeting. The question was urgent: should they send a rescue mission? Was there someone, or something, still alive beneath the sands? The decision divided the team and the world. Some argued it was a trap, a danger to the crew and humanity. Others believed it was a moral imperative to respond. Elon weighed the risks against the hope. Finally, he made the call. A specialized team would descend into the depths to find the source of the signal. The descent was perilous. The Martian caverns were unstable, their passageways twisting into the unknown. The team's progress was slow, each step echoing with the weight of history and uncertainty. Days passed with only faint traces of the signal, until at last, they reached a vast subterranean chamber. There, amid the ruins, they found the source, a preserved pod, sealed and glowing faintly with power. Inside was a figure, alive, but in stasis. The crew worked carefully to awaken it, aware that this encounter could change everything. As the pod opened, the figure's eyes fluttered open. It was humanoid but clearly Martian, with delicate features and skin shimmering with an otherworldly hue. The being looked around, confused but alive. Communication was difficult at first, but slowly, through a combination of technology and empathy, the figure began to share its story. It spoke of a civilization that had reached for the stars but was torn apart by ambition and fear. It told of a great cataclysm that forced survivors into hiding, waiting for a time when the world would be ready. Elon listened, his heart heavy with the knowledge that this was not just a story of loss, but of survival and hope. The figure, who the crew named Airy, became the key to unlocking Mars' secrets and guiding humanity toward a future that honored the past. But Airy's presence also raised profound questions. Was humanity ready to face the truth? Could they learn from the mistakes of Mars, or were they doomed to follow the same path? Elon felt the weight of legacy more than ever. The journey was no longer just about exploration. It was about redemption and the survival of all life, no matter how far from home. The arrival of Airy at the Martian base camp marked a profound turning point in humanity's understanding of Mars, and themselves. The figure who had slept beneath the dust of a dead world for centuries was now awake, a living testament to a civilization both ancient and eerily familiar. Elon Musk followed every update with a mix of fascination and responsibility. The challenges ahead were unlike any before: communicating with an alien intelligence, bridging millennia of isolation, and navigating the fragile balance between hope and fear. Airy's presence reshaped the mission's goals. No longer were they mere explorers, they had become ambassadors in a cosmic dialogue. The team worked tirelessly to establish trust and understanding, developing new technologies to translate Airy's thoughts and memories into human language. It was a painstaking process filled with moments of frustration and breakthrough. Slowly, the story of the Martians unfolded. They were a species driven by curiosity and innovation, much like humanity. Their culture was rich with art, philosophy, and science, their cities once shining beacons of progress. Yet, like humanity, they struggled with their own contradictions: ambition clashed with caution, unity with division, and progress with preservation. Airy shared memories of their civilization's golden age and the catastrophic events that led to their downfall. The warnings were clear: unchecked greed, environmental neglect, and the misuse of technology had accelerated their collapse. The message resonated deeply with Elon and his team. It was a mirror held up to Earth's own challenges, a cautionary tale writ large across the Martian sky. As trust grew, Airy began to reveal knowledge that could revolutionize human technology and sustainability. Their advanced energy systems, ecological restoration methods, and harmonious societal structures offered a glimpse of what was possible, if humanity could learn and change. Yet, the revelations also came with warnings. Some technologies were too dangerous, too powerful for an unprepared civilization. The Martians had sealed away certain knowledge to prevent misuse, a responsibility Elon understood all too well. Meanwhile, the political and corporate pressures on Earth intensified. Governments debated how to share this newfound knowledge. Private companies eyed the technologies with commercial ambition, risking repeating the mistakes Mars had made. Elon found himself in the center of a global debate, balancing innovation with ethics, transparency with security. The crew on Mars, now including Ari as a guide, worked to develop protocols for knowledge sharing and preservation. The mission evolved into a symbol of international cooperation and hope, though not without tension and setbacks. Elon also faced personal struggles. The burden of leadership weighed heavily, and the gulf between him and those he loved seemed to grow. Maya Chen remained his closest ally, sharing his vision and doubts. Their conversations often turned to the nature of humanity's future. Could they rise above their flaws, or were they doomed to repeat history? The answers were not easy. Yet, amidst the challenges, moments of beauty and connection shone through. The Martian sunsets, the quiet solidarity of the crew, and the shared purpose of a mission greater than any one individual fueled their resolve. Elon found himself reflecting on the meaning of legacy, not just what they inherited, but what they chose to leave behind. The story of Mars was no longer one of loss alone. It was a story of hope, resilience, and the possibility of redemption. The line between two worlds blurred, united by a common past and a shared future. As preparations began for the next phase, a deeper exploration into Mars' mysteries and the extension of the human presence, Elon felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey was far from over, but with Ari's guidance and humanity's collective will, the path forward was illuminated. The truth about Mars was finally coming into focus, revealing not just an alien world, but a reflection of humanity's own soul. The atmosphere at SpaceX headquarters and mission control buzzed with an electric mix of anticipation and tension. The mission was advancing into uncharted territory, and the revelations uncovered by Ari, the Martian survivor, had fundamentally altered the course of human space exploration. Elon Musk paced the control room, his mind racing with the possibilities, and the dangers. The knowledge the Martians had entrusted to humanity was both a blessing and a burden. There were breakthroughs to be made, technologies to be harnessed, but also hard lessons to internalize if the cycle of destruction was to be broken. On Mars, the crew prepared to venture deeper into the ancient city ruins, sites that had been inaccessible until Ari's guidance revealed safe passageways and clues about hidden chambers. The goal was ambitious: to unlock the heart of the civilization's advanced technology and understand the causes of their downfall firsthand. The journey was fraught with challenges. The ruins were vast and labyrinthine, their corridors filled with traps and decay. As the team advanced, psychological strain grew. Each new discovery carried the weight of history, and the potential for profound change. Back on Earth, political pressures mounted. News of the mission's findings had spread rapidly, igniting debates over the control and use of Martian technology. Some nations demanded exclusive access, while others called for open collaboration. Elon found himself navigating diplomatic minefields, balancing transparency with security. Meanwhile, corporate interests sought to capitalize on the Martian discoveries, threatening to undermine the mission's ethical framework. Elon's vision of responsible stewardship clashed with powerful forces driven by profit and power. Amidst the turmoil, a breakthrough emerged. The team uncovered a massive chamber housing an energy core unlike anything humanity had seen. This core was the source of the Martians' incredible power, a sustainable, clean energy system that could revolutionize life on Earth. The discovery ignited hope but also fear. Could humanity wield such power wisely? The parallels with Earth's energy crises were stark and urgent. As the team studied the core, Ari revealed a hidden safeguard built by the Martians, a mechanism designed to prevent misuse of their technology. This fail-safe could only be disabled through a ritual of trust and sacrifice, requiring those who sought to use the power to demonstrate their worthiness. Elon realized this was a test, a final challenge to prove humanity's readiness to inherit Mars' legacy. The pressure was immense. The world watched as the mission approached the tipping point. Would humanity pass the test or repeat the mistakes of the past? In the midst of this, tensions among the crew flared. Fear, doubt, and ambition collided. Elon and Maya worked to maintain unity and focus, emphasizing the mission's higher purpose. The ritual to unlock the core became a symbol of humanity's potential for growth and responsibility. The moment arrived with solemn ceremony. Representatives from the crew, including Elon's trusted advisors, participated in the ritual, offering pledges of stewardship, unity, and sacrifice. The energy core responded, its glow intensifying as the failsafe disengaged. The power surged through the chamber, illuminating the ruins and sending waves of energy across Mars. The significance was monumental. Humanity had passed the test, at least for now. The core's energy promised solutions to Earth's greatest challenges, but also a reminder that power must be tempered by wisdom and humility. Elon stood before the world, addressing a global audience. Today, we have not just uncovered technology, we have embraced a responsibility. Mars has given us a second chance. Let us honor it by building a future defined by respect, collaboration, and hope. The world responded with a mixture of awe and cautious optimism. The path ahead remained uncertain, but a new chapter had begun, one where humanity could choose to rise or fall. As the mission continued, Elon reflected on the journey from a lone visionary to a leader bearing the hopes of billions. The truth about Mars was no longer a secret, it was a shared legacy and a call to action. The tipping point had arrived. The future was in humanity's hands. The energy core's activation sent ripples far beyond the Martian surface. On Earth, the political and social landscape shifted dramatically. Some hailed the moment as the dawn of a new era, a leap forward for humanity. Others viewed it with suspicion, fearing the concentration of power and the unknown consequences of wielding technology beyond their comprehension. Elon Musk found himself navigating a complex web of alliances and fractures. The global response was fractured. Nations scrambled to assert influence over the new technology, private corporations pushed for commercial dominance, and activist groups demanded transparency and ethical governance. The dream of a united human front on Mars suddenly seemed fragile. At SpaceX and the international coalition managing the mission, tensions ran high. Elon convened emergency meetings to manage the competing interests. He emphasized the need for collaboration and responsibility, but old rivalries and ambitions surfaced. Maya Chen, ever the voice of reason, urged caution. This isn't just about technology or territory, she warned. It's about humanity's very future. We need to build bridges, not walls. The crew on Mars felt the strain as well. Isolation, pressure, and the enormity of their mission tested their resilience. Differences in culture, perspective, and ambition created fissures within the team. Elon worried that internal discord could jeopardize everything they had worked for. Against this backdrop, a surprising alliance emerged. Several nations and organizations came together to form the Mars Stewardship Council, pledging to oversee the ethical use of Martian technology and resources. Elon played a key role, leveraging his influence and vision to unite disparate factions. The council established strict guidelines for transparency, environmental protection, and shared benefit. Yet not everyone was satisfied. Powerful interests continued to push back, and a shadowy resistance movement formed, seeking to exploit the technology for their own ends. The stakes grew higher as sabotage attempts and espionage threatened the mission. Elon and his team ramped up security, balancing openness with the need to protect the fragile trust they had built. On Mars, the discovery of an ancient archive shed new light on the Martian society, its triumphs, failures, and ultimate demise. The archive included warnings about divisions and greed that had torn the civilization apart. The parallels to humanity were striking. The crew, guided by Airy, worked to translate and disseminate this knowledge, hoping it would serve as a catalyst for unity. Meanwhile, Elon struggled with his own doubts and fears. The burden of leadership weighed heavily, and he grappled with the limits of his own vision. Maya remained his anchor, reminding him of the importance of empathy and collaboration. Their bond deepened amid the turmoil. As tensions reached a boiling point, a crisis erupted. A catastrophic failure in one of the Martian habitats threatened the crew's survival. The emergency forced the team to set aside differences and work together, rekindling a sense of purpose and solidarity. The experience underscored the fragile balance between ambition and humility, progress and caution. Back on Earth, Elon used the crisis as a call to action, urging humanity to overcome divisions and embrace a shared destiny. "Mars has shown us what we can become," he said. "But only if we stand together." The chapter closed with a renewed commitment to collaboration, even as challenges loomed. The fractures were real, but so were the alliances, and the hope that humanity could learn from the past to forge a better future. As the dust storms raged outside the Martian base, the crew delved deeper into the secrets hidden beneath the planet's surface. Airy, now fully integrated into the team, led an expedition to an ancient underground facility that had eluded previous scans. The air was tense, the silence punctuated only by the soft hum of equipment and the crunch of boots on alien soil. The cavernous chamber they entered was unlike anything they had encountered, vast halls lined with panels of glowing symbols, corridors that twisted like the veins of a living organism. It felt alive, a sleeping giant waiting to awaken. Elon watched the live feed from Earth, his mind racing with anticipation and caution. The facility held the promise of answers, about the Martians, their technology, and the events that had led to their downfall. But it also held unknown dangers. Inside, the team discovered a central core, a repository of knowledge encoded in complex holographic maps and data streams. Aries' eyes glowed as she accessed the archives, revealing centuries of Martian history, scientific breakthroughs, and personal stories etched into the data. Among the records was a chilling revelation, a plan for a planetary defense system designed to protect Mars from cosmic threats but that ultimately contributed to the planet's destruction. The system, intended to shield the civilization from external dangers, had malfunctioned, triggering a cascade of events that accelerated environmental collapse. The crew grappled with the implications. The technology was awe-inspiring but carried risks that echoed humanity's own struggles with powerful tools. Elon realized the urgency of learning from these mistakes. As the team decoded more data, they uncovered encrypted messages, warnings left by Martian scientists anticipating catastrophe. These messages spoke of ethical dilemmas, the tension between progress and preservation, and the hope that future generations might avoid their fate. The parallels to Earth's current environmental and technological crises were stark. On Earth, debates raged over how to responsibly integrate Martian technology without repeating history. Elon found himself advocating for a cautious approach, emphasizing the need for governance and long-term thinking. Meanwhile, back on Mars, the expedition faced unexpected challenges. The ancient facility's power systems flickered unpredictably, and strange phenomena, electrical surges, unexplained noises, suggested the presence of automated defenses or dormant systems awakening. The crew worked to stabilize the environment while uncovering more secrets. Aries' unique connection to the technology proved invaluable, allowing her to interface with the systems in ways no human could. Yet, as the team pushed forward, tensions resurfaced. Some crew members questioned the risks of digging deeper, fearing they were awakening forces better left undisturbed. Elon's leadership was tested as he balanced ambition with prudence, determined to protect his team and the mission's integrity. Amidst these challenges, personal stories emerged, moments of courage, doubt, and resilience that humanized the mission. The crew's bond grew stronger, forged in the crucible of shared discovery and adversity. As Chapter 12 drew to a close, the crew uncovered a hidden chamber containing a device that appeared to be a beacon, one designed to send a signal into deep space. The purpose and destination of the beacon remained a mystery, but its activation could have profound implications. Elon faced a pivotal decision: to activate the beacon and potentially invite contact, or to keep Mars' secrets contained, preserving humanity's fragile control. The weight of that choice hung heavy, a reminder that in exploring the universe, humanity was not just discovering new worlds, but confronting the very nature of existence and connection. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough? The Martian night was silent except for the faint hum of the base's life support systems. The dusty red horizon vanished into a sky speckled with stars, each one a distant sun in a vast and lonely cosmos. Elon Musk stared at the live feed, tension knotting his gut. The decision to activate the beacon was his, one that carried risks beyond any mission he had ever led. The beacon had been dormant for centuries, its purpose lost to time. Now, with Ares' guidance, the team was ready to send a signal into deep space, reaching out to whoever or whatever might be listening. As the countdown began, the crew moved with deliberate care. Activating the beacon was more than a technical procedure, it was a symbolic act of connection, hope, and vulnerability. Ares' eyes glimmered with a mix of anticipation and sorrow. She carried the hopes of a lost civilization on her shoulders, and now humanity's future was intertwined with theirs. The beacon's activation sent waves of energy pulsing through the ancient facility. On Earth, the world watched in awe and apprehension. Media outlets buzzed with speculation. Was this the first real attempt at interstellar communication? What message were we sending? Governments debated the implications, with some calling for caution, others for transparency and exploration. Elon, addressing the public, spoke with gravity and optimism. Today, we have taken a step into the unknown. We are reaching out to the stars not as conquerors, but as seekers of understanding. Whatever answers await us, we face them together, as a united humanity. The signal itself was a carefully crafted message, blending Martian knowledge and human aspirations. It was a beacon of peace, curiosity, and a plea for dialogue. As it streamed across the void, the crew felt a profound sense of connection to the cosmos, and to each other. Days turned into weeks, and the mission settled into a tense vigil. The waiting was agonizing. Would anyone respond? Was the silence an answer or a test? As the crew continued their work, new discoveries in the ruins seemed almost to echo the beacon's call, a pattern of symbols and messages suggesting the Martians had once attempted similar outreach. Then, the unexpected happened. Sensors picked up a faint return signal, an irregular pulse, subtle but unmistakable. The crew scrambled to analyze the data. Was it a reply? A cosmic coincidence? The possibility electrified the mission and captivated Earth. Elon's team worked tirelessly to decode the signal. The process was painstaking, but gradually, patterns emerged, mathematical sequences, universal constants, and fragments of information that suggested intelligence beyond imagination. The implications were staggering. Humanity was not alone. But with the wonder came fear. What kind of beings had answered the call? Were they friend or foe? The crew debated the risks and rewards of attempting further communication. Elon advocated for cautious optimism. We must be open, but vigilant. This could redefine everything we know about life, the universe, and our place within it. As the dialogue began, through coded pulses and shared knowledge, the crew and Earth witnessed the birth of an unprecedented connection. The beings on the other end revealed themselves to be ancient travelers, explorers who had watched Mars and Earth from afar. They spoke of cycles of growth and destruction, the fragility of civilizations, and the importance of stewardship. Their messages resonated deeply with the warnings from Mars' past. Yet, they also offered hope, technologies to heal planets, insights into sustainable living, and a cosmic perspective that transcended borders and ideologies. The alliance was fragile, built on trust and mutual curiosity. But it sparked a renaissance of cooperation on Earth, inspiring new policies, innovations, and a shared commitment to preserving life. For Elon, the experience was transformative. The mission had evolved from exploration to enlightenment, a testament to humanity's resilience and potential. Yet, challenges remained. Not all embraced the new alliance, fear and suspicion lingered. Opponents sought to weaponize the technology or sever the connection. The mission faced sabotage, political intrigue, and ethical dilemmas. Through it all, Elon and his team stood firm, guided by a vision of unity and progress. As the chapter closed, the beacon continued to pulse, a heartbeat of hope in the vast dark. The signal was more than a message, it was a promise. That in the face of cosmic loneliness, humanity would reach out, listen, and find its place among the stars. The Martian winds howled outside the reinforced glass walls of the base, a relentless reminder of the planet's harshness and isolation. Inside, the atmosphere was charged with a sense of urgency and reflection. After the activation of the beacon and the tentative contact with the ancient travelers, the mission had entered a new phase, one of deep exploration not just outward into the cosmos, but inward, into the layers of history buried beneath the red soil. Elon Musk sat quietly in the command center, watching the data streams from the excavation teams. The recent discoveries in the underground archives had revealed fragments of Martian culture, artifacts, records, and personal histories that painted a vivid picture of a civilization both alien and familiar. It was a society driven by curiosity, innovation, and a profound respect for life, yet haunted by its own flaws and conflicts. Eri, the Martian survivor who had become an integral part of the team, shared more of her memories, each story weaving a tapestry of hope and tragedy. She recounted tales of Martian families, their struggles to balance progress with preservation, and the ethical dilemmas that had torn their society apart. These echoes of the past struck a chord with the crew, reminding them that history was not just a record of events, but a living lesson. The parallels to Earth's own challenges were undeniable: environmental degradation, social division, and the reckless pursuit of power. As the team delved deeper, they uncovered a series of encoded messages left by Martian scientists and philosophers. These messages warned of a cataclysmic event triggered by the misuse of technology, an energy system designed to sustain the planet that, when destabilized, accelerated its decline. The record spoke of desperate attempts to reverse the damage, acts of sacrifice, and a hope that future explorers might learn from their fate. The emotional weight of these revelations was immense. The crew grappled with the knowledge that their mission was not merely scientific but moral. They were custodians of a legacy, tasked with ensuring that humanity did not repeat the mistakes of those who came before. On Earth, the impact of these discoveries reverberated through media, politics, and public consciousness. Discussions about the responsibility of space exploration and technological advancement gained new urgency. Elon Musk found himself at the center of these debates, advocating for a balanced approach that honored both innovation and ethical stewardship. Amidst this, the mission faced practical challenges. The fragile Martian environment tested the resilience of the crew and their equipment. Dust storms disrupted communications, and unexpected geological activity posed risks to the excavation sites. Yet, these hardships also forged bonds among the team. Shared adversity deepened their commitment to each other and their mission. Eri's presence continued to be a source of inspiration and insight. Her unique perspective bridged the gap between Martian history and human aspirations, reminding everyone that despite the differences, the core struggles and hopes were universal. One poignant moment came when the crew uncovered a Martian family archive, a collection of personal records, art, and messages intended for future generations. The artifacts revealed intimate glimpses into daily life, love, loss, and dreams deferred. The emotional resonance was profound, humanizing a civilization often reduced to ruins and data. Elon reflected on the nature of legacy, not just what was left behind, but what was carried forward in memory and action. The chapter also explored tensions within the team. The weight of the mission and the emotional burden of the discoveries led to moments of conflict and doubt. Some crew members questioned the direction and risks, while others found renewed purpose in the lessons of the past. Elon's leadership was tested as he navigated these dynamics, striving to maintain unity and focus. As Chapter 14 drew to a close, the crew prepared for a new expedition, a journey to the site of the energy system that had contributed to Mars' downfall. The mission was clear: to understand the technology, assess its risks and potential, and determine whether it could be adapted to help rather than harm. The decision was fraught with uncertainty. The echoes of the past were both a guide and a warning. Elon's closing thoughts captured the essence of their journey, that the future was shaped not just by discovery, but by the wisdom to learn from history. The mission on Mars had become a mirror, reflecting humanity's own challenges and hopes, and offering a chance to rewrite the story of civilization, on Earth and beyond. The expedition to the site of the ancient energy system was marked by a mix of excitement and foreboding. The crew, equipped with advanced exploration suits and guided by Ares' intimate knowledge of Martian technology, traversed the rugged landscape toward the heart of the mysterious power plant. The terrain was jagged and unforgiving, with deep fissures and towering rock formations that cast long shadows in the pale Martian sunlight. As they approached, the remnants of the energy system emerged from the ground. Massive, enigmatic structures partially buried in dust and time. The core itself was a colossal device, a fusion of organic and technological design, pulsing faintly with residual energy. It was a monument to the ingenuity and ambition of the Martian civilization, but also a silent warning of hubris. Elon Musk stood at the edge of the site, reflecting on the immense responsibility before them. This technology had the potential to revolutionize humanity's energy future but had also contributed to the downfall of its creators. The stakes were higher than ever. The team set up a mobile research lab near the core, beginning the painstaking process of analysis and stabilization. Ares interfaced directly with the system, her neural connection allowing unprecedented access to its inner workings. The data that flowed back was both awe-inspiring and alarming, energy output far beyond Earth's current capabilities, but with intricate safeguards and fail-safes that indicated the Martians had been keenly aware of its dangers. As the days passed, the crew uncovered a series of control nodes scattered around the site, each linked to different aspects of the core's operation. These nodes revealed complex algorithms governing energy distribution, environmental regulation, and planetary defense mechanisms. However, some nodes appeared corrupted or damaged, hinting at the system's gradual breakdown leading up to the planet's ecological collapse. Elon and the scientists debated how to proceed. Repairing the system could provide humanity with clean, limitless energy, but the risks of unintended consequences loomed large. The memory of Mars' downfall weighed heavily on their decisions. Meanwhile, the crew faced psychological challenges. The presence of such advanced and mysterious technology evoked awe but also fear and existential questions. Were they ready to wield this power responsibly? Could they avoid repeating history? The pressure mounted. Ares' connection to the core deepened, and through her, fragments of Martian consciousness seemed to emerge, echoes of the minds who had designed and maintained the system. These interactions were surreal and emotional, offering insights into Martian hopes, fears, and regrets. The crew was humbled by this glimpse into a lost civilization's soul. Yet, as progress was made, unforeseen problems arose. The core's energy began to fluctuate unpredictably, triggering environmental anomalies around the site. Dust storms intensified, and seismic activity increased. The team scrambled to contain the effects and reassess their approach. Tensions flared as some advocated for retreat, fearing catastrophic failure, while others pushed to continue, driven by the mission's promise. Elon found himself at a crossroads, balancing scientific ambition with caution and care for his team. In a decisive moment, he convened the crew to discuss the ethical implications of their work. The conversation was candid and intense, revealing fears, hopes, and the burden of leadership. Together, they reaffirmed their commitment to proceed carefully, with respect for the technology and the legacy it represented. The chapter also explored the broader impact on Earth. News of the discoveries and challenges sparked global debate. Environmentalists, governments, and corporations wrestled with how to integrate Martian technology without repeating past mistakes. Elon emerged as a vocal advocate for international cooperation and ethical governance. The narrative wove in personal reflections, Elon's own evolution as a leader who recognized that technological progress must be paired with wisdom, humility, and humanity. As Chapter 15 concluded, the team made a breakthrough. They successfully stabilized a portion of the core's systems, unlocking a controlled flow of energy that could be harnessed safely. The moment was a triumph but also a reminder of the ongoing responsibility and vigilance required. The core's secret was no longer a mystery but a powerful tool, and a test of humanity's readiness to embrace the future with care and conscience. The success at the core brought a surge of optimism, but beneath the surface, shadows of doubt began to creep into the mission. The Martian base, once filled with excitement and hope, now hummed with undercurrents of tension and uncertainty. Elon Musk, while buoyed by the breakthroughs, sensed that the road ahead would be far more complex than anticipated. The stabilization of the energy core had been a pivotal achievement, yet it raised questions that no one was fully prepared to answer. As the crew gathered to discuss the next steps, a division became apparent. Some believed that humanity had been granted a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a chance to harness nearly limitless clean energy and transform civilization on Earth. Others warned that tampering with technology whose origins were deeply entwined with disaster was reckless, potentially dooming the fragile new hope. The debates were intense. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the lead scientist, argued passionately for caution. "We are dealing with a system that is not just alien, but also extraordinarily complex. We barely understand its safeguards. A single mistake could trigger a chain reaction we cannot control." Opposing her was Marcus Reed, the project's chief engineer, who saw the technology as a key to solving Earth's most pressing crises. "We have the knowledge, the skills, and the responsibility to use this. To turn back now would be a betrayal of everything we stand for." Elon found himself navigating this delicate balance, striving to unify a team pulled in different directions. His leadership was tested in new ways as he tried to maintain morale while acknowledging the risks. Meanwhile, the psychological toll of the mission became increasingly evident. The crew, isolated millions of miles from Earth and facing relentless pressure, began to experience fatigue and strain. Small conflicts escalated, and moments of doubt turned into deeper fears. Elon organized sessions of open dialogue and support, emphasizing the importance of mental health in the harsh Martian environment. Amid these internal challenges, new anomalies emerged around the core. Unexplained fluctuations in energy output caused equipment malfunctions and mysterious readings that defied explanation. Airy, deeply connected to the ancient technology, sensed something more. A presence or force that seemed to resist the team's attempts to control the system. Her insights added a layer of complexity, blending science with intuition. The crew decided to investigate these anomalies, venturing into deeper sections of the facility where the technology's origins were more obscured. The atmosphere grew more eerie and tense. Strange symbols adorned the walls, and the air was thick with a palpable sense of history and warning. During one exploration, the team uncovered a sealed chamber containing records of the final days of the Martian civilization, desperate communications, pleas for help, and cryptic references to a great shadow that engulfed their world. The chilling discovery shook the crew. The shadow was described not just as a physical catastrophe but as a metaphor for the consequences of unchecked ambition and hubris. Elon pondered the symbolism. Was this a cautionary tale, a mirror reflecting humanity's own potential fate? On Earth, the revelations reignited debates about the mission's direction and the wisdom of pursuing such powerful technology. Critics accused the program of recklessness, while supporters hailed it as humanity's destiny to explore and learn. Governments tightened regulations, and public opinion grew divided. The story of Mars became a catalyst for reflection on Earth's future. As tensions mounted, Elon convened a critical meeting with his senior team. They faced a daunting choice: to press forward into the unknown depths of the Martian technology or to step back and focus on studying the data they already had. The decision was fraught with ethical and practical considerations. In a moment of clarity, Elon shared his vision, that progress must be tempered with humility, that understanding the past was essential to building a better future, and that the mission's true success would be measured not by what they harnessed, but by what they learned. The chapter closed with the team resolving to proceed cautiously, with renewed commitment to transparency, ethics, and collaboration. Shadows of doubt remained, but so did a steadfast hope, that humanity could rise above its fears and mistakes to forge a new path among the stars. The Martian dust had barely settled when the base's sensors detected an anomaly unlike any before, a subtle but unmistakable signal emanating from a nearby ridge, a location previously marked as barren and devoid of interest. Elon Musk stood in the command center, eyes fixed on the blinking alert as his mind raced through possibilities. The crew quickly mobilized an exploratory team, tension mounting as they prepared to investigate what could only be described as a mystery on the edge of known science. The rover, equipped with the latest sensors and artificial intelligence assistance, rolled across the crimson landscape, its wheels crunching softly over the loose soil. As they approached the coordinates, the team's anticipation grew palpable. Then, emerging from behind a jagged outcrop, came a figure, an entity unlike any they had ever seen. The visitor's appearance defied expectations, humanoid in shape, yet with subtle differences that marked it as distinctly alien. Its skin shimmered faintly under the Martian sun, hues shifting with every movement. Its eyes held an ancient wisdom, deep and penetrating. The atmosphere crackled with an electric mix of fear, wonder, and profound curiosity. Elon's heart pounded. Was this the living legacy of Mars' lost civilization? Or something entirely new? Communication was the immediate challenge. The team deployed a series of universal translation protocols and gesture-based signals, attempting to bridge the vast gap between species and experience. The visitor responded with slow, deliberate movements, revealing an intelligence both cautious and respectful. Over hours, a fragile dialogue formed. The visitor, who identified themselves as Vara, revealed startling truths about Mars and its history. They were a member of a nomadic group that had once roamed the planet's surface, surviving the decline by adapting and evolving beyond the ancient cities and technologies. Their existence had been hidden from all previous explorers, a testament to resilience and adaptability. Vara spoke of the Martian collapse not as an end, but as a transformation. Their people had chosen to leave behind the ruins and technology, embracing a way of life in harmony with the planet's harsh environment. This revelation challenged everything the crew thought they knew. It was a living connection to a past both alien and intimately tied to the present mission. The visitor's presence sparked debates within the team about ethics and responsibility. Could they integrate this knowledge without disrupting Vara's culture? Would bringing them into contact with Earth risk harm or exploitation? Elon wrestled with these questions, weighing the mission's goals against the profound implications of this encounter. As trust grew, Vara shared insights into the planet's ecosystems, the subtle balance that sustained life in hidden niches, and the spiritual philosophies that guided their people. These teachings resonated deeply with the crew, especially in contrast to the technology-driven approaches that had dominated the mission. The visitor's wisdom offered a new perspective, one that emphasized humility, respect, and coexistence. The encounter also brought moments of vulnerability. The isolation and loneliness of Vara's existence mirrored the crew's own struggles, creating a bond across species and worlds. Elon found himself reflecting on humanity's place in the universe, not as masters, but as participants in a vast, interconnected web of life. The chapter detailed the challenges of coexistence and communication, highlighting both the beauty and the difficulty of understanding the other. It explored themes of empathy, cultural exchange, and the evolving definition of exploration. On Earth, news of the visitor sent shockwaves through the scientific community and the public. Questions about the nature of life, consciousness, and the meaning of civilization sparked global conversations. Elon's role as the mission's leader thrust him into the spotlight once again, this time as a mediator between worlds. As Chapter 17 concluded, the team and Vara stood at the threshold of a new chapter. One where cooperation and mutual respect could unlock not only the secrets of Mars but also the potential for a future where humanity's reach extended beyond technology, into understanding and harmony with the cosmos. The presence of Vara shifted the atmosphere at the Martian base. What was once a mission of exploration had grown into something far more profound, a meeting of minds and cultures across the vast gulf of time and space. Elon Musk understood the significance immediately. This was not just about technology or science anymore. It was about connection, empathy, and the future of interspecies relationships. The days that followed were a delicate dance of communication and trust building. The crew worked tirelessly to understand Vara's language, customs, and history, using a combination of advanced translation software and patient observation. Elon himself participated in many of these sessions, keenly aware that leadership now demanded openness to new ideas and humility before the unknown. Vara's story was rich and layered, describing a civilization that had evolved not only technologically but spiritually. They had witnessed their world's transformation, the slow fading of their great cities, the adaptation to a harsher environment, and the rise of a philosophy centered on balance and respect for all life forms. This worldview was radically different from the human drive for expansion and control. The contrast sparked intense reflection among the crew, many of whom questioned their own assumptions about progress and success. Elon facilitated discussions that went beyond the mission's scientific objectives, encouraging the team to explore philosophical and ethical dimensions. This shift brought a renewed sense of purpose, as the mission began to embrace the idea that Mars was not just a destination but a teacher. Meanwhile, the technical teams integrated Vara's knowledge into their ongoing efforts to stabilize and utilize the ancient energy core. Vara's people had preserved fragments of knowledge that complemented the data recovered from the ruins, offering insights into the safe harnessing of power and the importance of environmental harmony. These contributions accelerated progress while reinforcing caution. The collaboration between humans and Martians was unprecedented, a bridge between worlds built on mutual respect. Yet, challenges remained. Differences in perspective and priorities occasionally led to misunderstandings. The crew grappled with the complexity of cultural exchange, realizing that true cooperation required patience, empathy, and sometimes compromise. Elon's leadership was pivotal in navigating these tensions, fostering an environment where all voices could be heard. On Earth, the impact of the mission's evolution was profound. The narrative shifted from conquest to coexistence, inspiring new conversations about humanity's role in the universe. Educational programs, policy debates, and artistic expressions flourished, reflecting a collective desire to learn from Mars and Vara's people. The media spotlight intensified, but Elon remained focused on the mission's core values, advocating for thoughtful stewardship of both technology and relationships. One particularly moving moment occurred when Vara invited the crew to participate in a traditional ceremony, a ritual honoring the planet's cycles and the interconnectedness of life. The experience was transformative, grounding the explorers in a deep sense of place and purpose. Emotions ran high as they confronted their vulnerabilities and hopes, forging bonds that transcended species and history. The chapter explored these themes with vivid descriptions of rituals, landscapes, and the emotional journeys of the characters. It highlighted the power of storytelling and shared experience to bridge divides and create meaning. As Chapter 18 drew to a close, the mission stood on the cusp of a new era. The fusion of human ambition and Martian wisdom promised breakthroughs not only in technology but in understanding what it meant to be part of a larger cosmic community. Elon Musk reflected on the journey so far, the trials, the revelations, and the unexpected gifts of connection. He recognized that the truth about Mars was not a single revelation but a continuing dialogue, an ongoing story of exploration, humility, and hope. As the mission progressed, the delicate balance of progress and caution was suddenly shattered. The Martian core, though stabilized in part, began exhibiting unprecedented fluctuations. The energy pulses, once steady and predictable, turned erratic, sometimes spiking with dangerous intensity, other times fading into silence. The crew watched anxiously as their instruments flagged these anomalies, alarms echoing through the base. Elon Musk convened an emergency meeting. The gravity of the situation was clear. The very technology they sought to harness might be unraveling, threatening not just the mission but the entire colony. Panic was averted only through Elon's calm and resolute leadership, but the tension was palpable. The cause of the instability was unknown, and every attempt to diagnose it revealed deeper complexities. The ancient safeguards embedded within the core's design appeared to be failing, systems meant to regulate energy flow and protect the environment no longer functioning as intended. Ares' neural link to the core became erratic as well, leaving the team blind to vital feedback. In the midst of this crisis, Vara's presence became a beacon. Drawing on their ancestral knowledge, Vara guided the crew through rituals and meditations meant to realign their connection with the planet and the core. Their calm presence contrasted sharply with the mounting stress among the human team members, reminding everyone that this was not just a technical failure but a profound challenge requiring both science and spirit. The core's instability soon triggered environmental effects. Dust storms intensified, blanketing the horizon in swirling reds and browns. Seismic tremors shook the colony, damaging equipment and threatening structural integrity. The crew scrambled to secure the base and maintain vital systems, working around the clock in shifts. In these moments of crisis, human and Martian cooperation deepened, as skills and knowledge were pooled to address each new emergency. Elon led from the front, embodying determination and hope. But the challenges were relentless. With each attempt to stabilize the core, new complications arose. Communication with Earth was compromised by the storms, leaving the team increasingly isolated. Internal tensions flared as fatigue and fear took their toll. At the crisis's peak, a critical failure caused a massive energy surge that threatened to overwhelm the base's defenses. In a daring operation, Elon and Marcus Reed manually intervened to reroute power and prevent a catastrophic meltdown. The operation succeeded, but it came at a cost. Marcus sustained serious injuries, underscoring the mission's human fragility. In the aftermath, the crew confronted difficult questions about their mission's viability. Was it worth risking so much for uncertain gain? Did humanity have the right to wield such power? Elon, facing these doubts, reflected deeply on the lessons Mars had offered. The reckoning was not only technical but ethical and philosophical. The team resolved to adopt a new approach, one emphasizing humility, respect for limits, and the integration of Martian wisdom. They designed protocols combining advanced technology with Vara's teachings on balance and caution. Slowly, the core's behavior began to stabilize once more, as human ingenuity and alien insight converged. The final scenes of the chapter depicted the crew's collective resilience and the fragile hope that emerged from near disaster. The base stood battered but unbroken, a testament to the human spirit and the possibility of coexistence with forces beyond comprehension. Elon's reflections closed the chapter. The truth about Mars was complex, a mixture of triumph and tragedy, technology and philosophy, ambition and restraint. The reckoning had tested them all, but it had also opened the way for a future where humanity might finally learn to live in harmony with the cosmos. The dawn on Mars was unlike any other. Pale orange light spilled over the horizon, illuminating the battered but resilient base that had become home to humanity's boldest venture. Elon Musk stood on the observation deck, looking out at the red landscape, the scarred ground, the distant peaks, and the faint outline of the ancient energy core resting quietly beneath the surface. The mission was nearing its end, but the journey was far from over. In the months since the reckoning, the crew had rebuilt not only their habitat but their purpose. The core's power was now stable, carefully harnessed through a synthesis of human technology and Martian wisdom shared by Vara and their people. The energy it provided was clean and abundant, a beacon of hope for Earth's future. But more importantly, the mission had evolved into a story of connection, humility, and learning. Elon reflected on the path that had brought them here, from the initial curiosity and ambition to the crises, discoveries, and the profound encounters with Martian life. Each challenge had reshaped his understanding of leadership and progress. He no longer saw technology as a tool of conquest but as a responsibility, a means to nurture, protect, and grow alongside the planet and its history. The crew gathered for a final ceremony, blending human tradition with Vara's rituals. The atmosphere was charged with emotion, gratitude for survival, respect for the past, and anticipation for what lay ahead. Speeches were made, voices trembling with hope and solemnity. Elon addressed the team and, through live feed, the millions watching on Earth. His message was clear. The mission was a testament to human resilience and a call for stewardship, not just of Mars but of all worlds humanity touched. "We came seeking answers and found something greater," he said. "Mars taught us that the future belongs not to those who take but to those who give, who listen, and who respect the fragile web of life." The chapter detailed the personal growth of key crew members, their fears transformed into courage, their doubts into conviction. The bonds forged between humans and Martians transcended language and biology, becoming a symbol of unity and shared destiny. Plans for the future were laid out, a sustainable colony that honored the planet's past, ongoing scientific collaboration, and a commitment to peaceful exploration. On Earth, the mission inspired a renaissance of interest in space and science, sparking initiatives to address climate change, energy sustainability, and international cooperation. Elon's vision of a multiplanetary civilization was no longer a distant dream but a tangible, ethical reality. The story concluded with a reflection on love, sacrifice, and hope. Elon mused on the lessons learned, that life's surprises, both joyous and tragic, shape the path forward, and that love, in its many forms, is the ultimate guide. The final lines left readers with a powerful, uplifting message: life is full of surprises, but love will always lead the way. As the Martian sun set, casting long shadows over the red dust, the base was alive with light and life, a new beginning for humanity among the stars. The mission had officially entered its next phase, but for Elon Musk and the crew, the real journey was only beginning. The new Martian colony was no longer just a foothold, it was evolving into a thriving community, one that blended human innovation with the ancient wisdom of Mars' forgotten inhabitants. Elon stood once again on the observation deck, watching the twin suns dip below the horizon. The sky was a deepening orange, fading into the cold blackness of space beyond. This moment, quiet and profound, filled him with both satisfaction and a restless desire to push forward. The lessons learned had been hard-earned. They had faced disasters, ethical dilemmas, and moments of despair. But through it all, hope and determination had kept the team moving forward. Now, they were ready to take the next leap, expanding their reach beyond the colony to explore Mars' vast and mysterious landscape with new purpose and care. The technology at their disposal was more refined, safer, and infused with the understanding that power must be balanced with responsibility. Using the core's stable energy, they began powering advanced exploration drones and vehicles capable of reaching the most remote corners of the planet. These machines were equipped with artificial intelligence designed to collaborate closely with human operators and Vara's guidance. One such mission targeted a region near the Valles Marineris, the colossal canyon system that dwarfed anything on Earth. This area held secrets, geological records and perhaps remnants of civilizations lost to time. As the drone sent back images and data, the crew marveled at the planet's complexity, its scars, its beauty, its silent stories waiting to be uncovered. Elon coordinated with scientists back on Earth, sharing data openly and encouraging international collaboration. The mission had become a symbol of unity rather than competition, a model for how humanity could pursue knowledge together. But exploration was not without its challenges. The harsh environment tested equipment and spirits alike. Dust storms could appear suddenly, communication relays sometimes failed, and the psychological weight of isolation pressed heavily on the explorers. Elon prioritized mental health support, incorporating lessons from the past and new technologies to keep morale strong. The relationships among the crew deepened. Friendships forged in adversity blossomed into a true community. Eri, now fully integrated with both human and Martian knowledge, served as a bridge between worlds, her insights invaluable in guiding decisions and nurturing understanding. Elon found himself reflecting often on the concept of home. Mars was no longer just a mission objective, it had become a place of belonging, a new chapter in humanity's story. Yet, he knew Earth remained their origin and responsibility. The connection between the two planets was a lifeline and a reminder of their shared fate. In one memorable moment, a celebration marked the first successful cultivation of crops using Martian soil enriched with sustainable bioengineering techniques. The victory was small but significant, a symbol of life taking root where once there was only barren rock. It was a testament to resilience and innovation working hand in hand. As the chapter unfolded, Elon also confronted new philosophical questions. What did it mean to be human in a place so different from home? How could they honor the legacy of Mars' original inhabitants while forging their own path? These questions sparked lively debates and personal introspection. The mission's success hinged not only on technology but on the crew's ability to adapt, empathize, and grow. The chapter ended with a vision of the future, one where Mars was a beacon of hope and possibility. Elon looked beyond the horizon, toward the stars that called to humanity's curiosity and courage. The truth about Mars was no longer a secret to be uncovered, but a story to be lived, one of discovery, respect, and an unyielding spirit to explore what lay beyond the known. The Martian sunrise spilled light across the colony's domes, casting long shadows over the red dust. Elon Musk stood quietly, absorbing the stillness before the day's work began. The journey that had started as a bold vision had now matured into a legacy, one that would shape not just Mars, but the future of humanity itself. As he watched the horizon, Elon reflected on everything that had brought them here, the risks, the triumphs, the failures, and the countless moments of doubt turned into determination. The mission had changed in ways he never fully imagined. It was no longer just about reaching Mars or unlocking its secrets. It had become about responsibility. Responsibility to the planet, to the people who had walked its surface before, and to the generations yet to come. The crew gathered for a ceremony unlike any before. They planted the legacy tree in the heart of the colony, a genetically engineered plant designed to survive the harsh Martian environment and symbolize life, growth, and hope. This living monument was a promise to nurture and protect the fragile new world they were helping to create. Elon spoke to the gathered team and the millions watching across Earth, his voice steady with conviction. What we do here is more than exploration. It's a pledge to respect this planet and all life. Mars has taught us that progress must be paired with humility, that strength lies not just in technology, but in care and cooperation. The day was filled with stories shared by crew members, each recounting their personal journeys, moments of fear, courage, loss, and love. These narratives wove a rich tapestry of human experience, a reminder that behind every scientific breakthrough were hearts and souls striving to make a difference. Elon thought about Vara and the ancient Martians, whose wisdom had guided so much of their work. Their message of balance and respect was etched into every protocol and decision, a spiritual compass pointing toward harmony rather than dominance. The chapter explored how the mission had become a model for future space endeavors, one where ethical considerations were as important as technical achievement. International teams began collaborating more closely, inspired by the shared vision nurtured on Mars. Back on Earth, the mission's ripple effects were profound. Schools introduced curricula based on Martian exploration, emphasizing environmental stewardship and global citizenship. Governments invested in sustainable technologies, inspired by the clean energy breakthroughs developed on Mars. The story showed how the mission's legacy transcended planetary boundaries, fostering a new era of hope and responsibility. Elon's personal journey culminated in moments of quiet reflection. He considered the sacrifices made, the lives changed, the families stretched across stars, the dreams realized and deferred. Yet, through it all, a steady thread of love and commitment held the community together. The final pages of the chapter focused on this human element, illustrating that the greatest legacy was not in technology or territory but in the bonds forged and the values embraced. The closing lines offered a poignant message: life is fragile and precious, and the future depends on the choices we make today. Mars was a mirror reflecting humanity's best and worst, a challenge to rise above and create a world worthy of the dreams it inspired. As Elon looked up at the twin suns setting over the crimson landscape, he felt a profound sense of peace and purpose. The truth about Mars was no longer a secret or a mystery. It was a living story, a legacy of hope, love, and the courage to keep reaching beyond the horizon. The Martian winds whispered through the colony's domes, carrying with them the silent echoes of a history far older than humanity itself. Elon Musk stood amidst the bustling activity of the expanding settlement, his mind drifting back to the countless revelations that had shaped their journey. Every step forward was a dialogue not just with the present but with the distant past, an ongoing conversation across time and space. The ancient ruins they had uncovered, the energy core that pulsed with mysterious power, and the enigmatic Martian people, each piece was a fragment of a larger puzzle. As new explorers arrived from Earth, bringing fresh hope and fresh questions, Elon felt the weight of legacy settle deeper on his shoulders. He realized that the mission was no longer about conquest or discovery alone, but about stewardship. Mars was a testament to civilizations that had risen and fallen, to the fragility and resilience of life itself. This awareness infused every decision, every plan for expansion and research. In one of the newly established research labs, scientists pored over data sent back from exploration drones. They studied the geological layers, searching for clues about the planet's past climates and ecosystems. The findings suggested a world that had once been vibrant and rich, a world that might have sustained life long before humans arrived. These insights deepened the sense of reverence and responsibility the team felt. Elon often visited the archive room, where holographic records preserved not only scientific data but also personal stories of those who had lived on Mars, both human and Martian. These stories created a tapestry of memory and meaning, reminding everyone that they were part of something much larger. The crew's connection to the planet grew stronger, their sense of belonging intertwined with respect for its history. Yet, the mission was not without its new challenges. The arrival of more settlers brought cultural shifts and the complexity of managing a growing society. Elon worked tirelessly to foster a community built on shared values, openness, empathy, and collaboration. He encouraged dialogue and transparency, knowing that the future depended on unity amid diversity. One day, as Elon walked through the settlement's communal garden, an oasis of green amid the red dust, he met with Vara and other Martian elders. Their conversation was a powerful reminder of the journey from strangers to allies, from curiosity to kinship. They spoke of hope, resilience, and the enduring spirit of life that connected all beings across galaxies. The chapter explored these interactions with vivid detail, portraying the depth of cultural exchange and the challenges of bridging worlds. Elon's reflections on leadership and humanity's place in the cosmos became more philosophical, inviting readers to ponder the meaning of legacy and the ethics of exploration. As the chapter drew to a close, a new mystery emerged, an ancient message encoded deep within the energy core's patterns, hinting at knowledge yet to be unlocked. This revelation set the stage for future discoveries and the promise of continued adventure. Elon gazed up at the stars, feeling the profound truth that the story of Mars, and humanity, was far from finished. The echoes across time called them onward, urging them to listen, learn, and live with purpose. The chapter ended with a hopeful note, emphasizing that every step taken was part of a greater journey, one that would shape not only their future but the destiny of all who dared to dream beyond their horizons. Mars was no longer just a distant dream or a scientific experiment. It had become a living world where two civilizations, ancient and new, were learning to coexist. Elon Musk stood at the forefront of this unprecedented endeavor, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility intertwined. The colony had grown steadily, its domes expanding to accommodate the increasing number of settlers who arrived from Earth with fresh skills and hopes. Yet, with growth came complexity. Elon understood that the true challenge was not only technological but deeply human, how to bridge worlds that had been separated by time, culture, and biology. The key, he realized, lay in empathy and communication. The Martians, led by Vara and her council, had shared invaluable wisdom about harmony with nature, balance, and the spirit of the planet itself. In return, the humans brought innovations in medicine, engineering, and knowledge of the cosmos. Together, they forged new traditions that blended their heritages, a fusion symbolizing hope for coexistence. Elon initiated the creation of the Council of Worlds, a governing body composed of representatives from both human settlers and Martian descendants. This council would oversee the ethical development of the colony, ensuring decisions respected both the land and its people. The process was not easy. Differences in worldview sometimes sparked disagreements, but through dialogue and mutual respect, compromises were reached. The council became a model of governance that others looked to as a blueprint for peaceful interplanetary cooperation. Education played a central role in this cultural bridge. Schools incorporated lessons in Martian history, language, and philosophy alongside human sciences and arts. Children grew up bilingual and bicultural, embodying the mission's spirit of unity. Elon often visited these schools, marveling at the curiosity and openness of the young generation, true pioneers in every sense. The chapter also explored personal stories of individuals who embodied this bridging of worlds. Ari, now a respected mediator, helped resolve conflicts and foster understanding. Marcus Reed, healed from his earlier injuries, took on a leadership role in community building. Vara's own journey intertwined with theirs, revealing moments of vulnerability and strength as she adapted to the changing world around her. The colony's expansion continued thoughtfully, with sustainability at its core. Renewable energy sourced from the stabilized core powered the settlement, while agriculture combined Martian soil techniques with Earth-based biotechnology. Waste was recycled with precision, and water was conserved fiercely. A testament to lessons learned from Earth's own environmental struggles. Elon championed projects that connected Mars and Earth beyond mere communication, cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations, and shared celebrations. The annual Unity Festival became a highlight, celebrating the fusion of traditions with music, art, and storytelling under the Martian sky. Despite the optimism, challenges persisted. Unexpected environmental shifts reminded the crew that Mars was a living, unpredictable world. Technical failures, personal losses, and moments of doubt tested their resolve. Yet, each obstacle was met with renewed determination and the collective strength of the community. Elon reflected on leadership in this context, not as command but as service, listening as much as directing. The chapter closed with a vision for the future, a society not defined by its origins but by its commitment to respect, learning, and shared destiny. As Elon watched the twin moons rise, he felt a profound connection to the past and an unshakable hope for what lay ahead. The bridge between worlds was fragile but real, and with care and courage, it could carry humanity toward a new era, one where exploration was not conquest but communion, and where the truth about Mars was a truth about ourselves. The red dust swirled gently outside the colony's reinforced windows as Elon Musk sat in the command center, watching the latest stream of data pouring in from the newly deployed exploration units. Mars was no longer just a destination, it was a complex living laboratory, a home for discovery, and a testament to human resilience and curiosity. Every byte of information was a piece of a grand puzzle, one that spanned not just science, but philosophy, culture, and the future of human identity. Elon's thoughts drifted to the first time he had set foot on Mars. The barren landscape had felt cold and alien then, but now, after years of work and growth, it felt familiar and alive. The colony had transformed, domes sprouted like glass flowers, crops flourished under artificial suns, and the once silent plains now hummed with the energy of human and Martian cooperation. Yet, at the heart of this transformation was exploration, not just of terrain and resources, but of the human spirit. The chapter opened with a vivid description of a new mission aimed at the Tharsis region, home to massive volcanoes that dwarfed anything on Earth. The mission was daring, pushing the limits of technology and human endurance. The explorers were tasked with uncovering geological secrets that could rewrite humanity's understanding of Mars' history. Elon's team had equipped the explorers with advanced suits and AI companions, designed to monitor health, optimize tasks, and enhance safety in the harsh environment. But technology was only part of the story. The explorers carried with them the hopes and dreams of everyone who had contributed to the mission. As they navigated treacherous terrain, their experiences were broadcast live to the colony and Earth, inspiring awe and unity across both worlds. The narrative detailed moments of intense challenge, equipment malfunctions, sudden storms, and the emotional toll of isolation. Yet, through these trials, the explorers found strength in one another and in the purpose that bound them. Elon's reflections turned philosophical as he pondered what exploration truly meant. It was not simply the act of discovery but the courage to confront the unknown with humility and openness. It was the willingness to learn from mistakes and to see setbacks as opportunities. Exploration was a journey inward as much as outward, a way to deepen understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. The chapter also explored the cultural impact of the mission. Artists, writers, and musicians on Mars and Earth created works inspired by the explorers' stories, weaving science and emotion into a shared human narrative. Schools used the mission as a living classroom, teaching lessons of resilience, teamwork, and environmental respect. Elon's leadership style had evolved as well. He embraced collaboration over command, listening deeply to diverse voices and fostering innovation through inclusion. The community on Mars was not perfect, but it was alive with possibility and grounded in shared values. The chapter concluded with a powerful scene of the exploration team reaching the summit of Olympus Mons, the tallest volcano in the solar system. Standing on the edge, they looked out over the vast Martian landscape, a reminder of how far they had come and how much remained to be discovered. Elon's voice closed the chapter with a hopeful message. That the heart of exploration beats in the human capacity for wonder, connection, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Mars was their proving ground, a place where the limits of the possible were constantly redefined. The truth about Mars, he realized, was the truth about exploration itself, an endless journey toward understanding, grounded in respect for the unknown and fueled by the courage to reach beyond. Hit subscribe and leave a comment with where you're watching from. This story might just spark a new beginning. What's one thing that always pushes you forward, even when things get tough?